Testing, testing. Okay, here we go. We are gonna be starting our playthrough of the Hive.
Done.
This is gonna be a big area, a lot of stuff to do. By the way, guys, welcome back to the channel. You see a man in tattered clothing. As you approach him, he suddenly stops and begins to look around, frightened. Greetings! The man looks startled, then takes a step back. Eh, what you be wantin', Cutter? His voice is shaky, and he seems taken aback by your scars. I have nothing on me, so's I don't, and my rags are not worth the trouble. Calm yourself, I'm not here to rob you. I have some questions. He keeps a safe distance, and his eyes dart from side to side, as if expecting something to step out of the shadows. Questions, you said. And, what might these questions be? Do you know someone named Farad? No, it's not one I know, Cutter. Who's he? He's a collector, I think. He thinks. Well, then he most likely has his kip in Ragpicker's Square, then. You might want to take a look there. During the day, that is. Not a nice place at night. Thanks for the warning. Farewell. He licks his lips as he turns to leave. Cutter, you might think He studies it for a moment. You could spare a few coppers for a blood who helped you on your way. Not many around here do that for a fella. And for a man to wet his tongue after all that talking, Fair enough. Give him a copper piece. We'll give him 5 coppers. He glances around to see if anyone saw the exchange, tucks the drink into the folds of his robe. Thank you kindly, Cutter. May the lady's shadow pass you by. Wait a minute, lady. What do you mean? The mistress of Sigil? You not heard of her? You must be blessed or more clue. I know little about Sigil, indeed. He laughs weakly. Ladies' words law around here, Sigil. He thinks for a moment. Except she don't say much. Dead silent she is, actually. Some law. He looks at you warily. Don't want to be talking too much about her, Cutter. You don't want to cross her shadow, nor be singing her praises, all right? Now, let's say no more about it. Rattling your bone box about the lady is dim. Dim indeed. Farewell, then. So that's an example of what makes Planescape Torment great. You get these small interactions with people, and they build the world in a subtle way that isn't necessary. You don't have to talk to everyone in the game, but it really does make a lot of difference. Bane the Sender. You see a heavy-set man with sharp features and a pained expression. Despite his huge frame, however, he has an effeminate look about him. Unlike the other residents you've seen, he looks to have bathed recently. As you approach, he looks up hopefully and calls out in a high voice. Craddock, good sir. What? His hopeful expression dies as he studies your face. 1,000 apologies, good sir, if I have given offense. He gives a slight bow. I am called Bane the Sender, third child of Bane the Sender. I am one of the many runners in the employ of the House of Senders. No apologies necessary, Bane. What do you want? 1,000 apologies for troubling you with such a trivial matter, but I seek Craddock, an overseer in the Hive. Bane looks like he is in pain, but alas, he eludes me. He looks at you hopefully again. Could it be that you have heard of such a man? I'm sorry, I haven't. Bane gives a deep sigh. I am bound to deliver a message to him, and as yet fortune has chosen not to favor me. I could help you. If I come across the man, I could pass along your message. Bane's face lights up like a lantern. A fortunate day for Bane and the House of Senders. Any assistance you could provide would be most welcome. And if you could find this Craddock and pass along the message, I shall see to it that you are paid for your troubles. Alright, what's the message? Bane recites the message almost like a mantra. The shipment must be incursed by the 3rd day, or there will be a penalty. Bane frowns. I am told that Craddock will know of the shipment to which the message pertains. If I see Craddock, I'll pass along the message. Is there anything you can tell me about him before I go that might help me find him? He is said to be a giant of a man, stern of features, that he is an overseer in one of the Hive marketplaces. Alas, I know little else other than that, good sir. I see. That's enough to go on for now. Bane bows. Thank you, sir. Should fortune favor you, and you are able to bear the message to Krennic, be so kind as to return and tell me of it. I will see to it your efforts are rewarded. Very well. Farewell, Ben.
Updated my journal.
So this area of the city, we're going to be spending a lot of time picking up different quests, and then eventually we are going to start completing them, but there's a lot of small side quests, and we're just going to try to grab as many of them as possible. Sevtai, we're going to talk to her. Sevtai, this woman's face looks broken, and she is covered in scars. They look like bite marks and fingernail cuts. She is cradling the shreds of several rags in her hands, is staring emptily at the wall of the monument, at the names there. Greetings. Get you back. The woman's teeth peel back, displaying a row of black canines. What do you want of Sevtai? What's the matter? What wrong? Those chaos men wrecked my cart, attacked me, killed 3 of my sisters who tried to stop them. Not sisters anymore. Now there's nothing but names on this memorial wall. Chaos men. Chaos men, a faction, they says. What they are is an addled bunch that runs wild through the Hive, does whatever they please. We never did no harm to them, yet they lope in like dogs and tear apart anything within their reach. Who are these Chaos men who attacked you? They are Hive gang, a bunch of addled sods that call themselves the starved dogs barking or some balmy nonsense. Their actions were unjust. If you wish, I could see that the matter is rectified. If 3 deaths they cause, then 3 deaths shall these starved dogs suffer. A copper earring in your purse, if you pen 3 of those murderous sods into the dead book, Jake. I'll see to it that they're put into the dead book. Can you tell me where they might be found? Go out the south gate, spireward from here, then walk around the block until you comes to a place where men run in circles, howling at the sig sky. There's the starved dogs they are. I'll go look for them then.
Updated my journal.
And I think Quentin might have quest. The man before you looks to be middle of height and years. He is stout with a thick bullish neck, and his shoulders are hunched, as if a great weight was pressing down upon them. He wears an impatient look as he stares at the black monolith in front of him. Greetings. The man throws you a glance. There's Room Cutter. No need to ask my leave to stand here. Actually, I wanted to know what this monolith was. It's a tombstone for the plains, he scoffs. Graveyards of names are scratched on that rock. Can only hope my name's the one that'll split the stone in twain. He points at the base of the monolith. Quentin, right there, hammered in just hard enough to send the damn thing crashing down. Tombstone for the plains? Aye, Quentin smiles ruefully. The Dusties scratch the names of the dead on this monument here. He gestures around him. And on the walls of this place. Not enough space by my reckoning, but no matter, they do their best. I barely read half the names. What are you doing here? Read the new arrivals. Try to find a new one every day. Try to remember if I know him. Nothing more. The dustmen record the names of all that have died on this monument? Aye, they scratch them on this rock. Scratch them on the walls of this place too. Quentin scoffs. I don't know why they take the trouble to kick a counting of the dead. The Dusties have more care for the living. The living? Aye, you know about the dustmen mourners that come to this place. They aren't mourning the dead, see, they're mourning the living. You can barely get a word in edgewise without them asking to mourn some poor living Burke for you. Why do they mourn the living? You got me there, Cutter, he shrugs. Might want to put the question to them. Seems to me the dead are thrice worth the pity of any poor sod living in this pit. He nods at the monument. Every name on there is blessed in my book, it is. Ever know anybody who came back after their name was put on there? You mean come back from the dead? Quentin shakes his head. Not a one, Cutter. Everything that lives dies, and that's the way of things. He shrugs. Still, considering the planes go on forever and all, I suppose anything's possible. I see. Thanks. And there's Death of Names. Let's have a quick chat with him. You see a dustman with a crooked smile frozen on his face. Despite the smile, his eyes are dull as stones. His right arm is shorter than the left, and he keeps it tucked to his side as if cradling a small child. Greetings. The dustman's eyes slide over you. Name. The way he speaks the word, it sounds like the tolling of a bell. I don't know. No name, no name. Can't help you. The dustman speaks in this curious sing-song voice. Need to give a name if you want to see where it's died. What?
Updated my journal.
Given a name when you're born. Give it back when you need it no more. Death of names, death of names. His eyes swim across the monolith, then the walls of the area. Buried many names here, Death of Names has. Tell me a name, I'll show you its grave. We'll try Dianara. His eyes roll to the back of his head, then pop back. With a wild gleam, his eyes run across the walls of the monument, scanning the names with inhuman speed. He then points at a section of the wall. Buried. Examine the spot he is pointing at. Chiseled into the black stone in tiny cramped writing is the name you requested. It is almost lost beneath the sea of names around it. Okay, we're going to call that. We're going to come back to him. There will be things that we're going to want to chat with him about, but let's talk to Ingress next. You see a haggard woman wrapped in rags. Her hair is disheveled and dirty, and her complexion is extremely dark. Burns cover her arms, and her right hand is a fused lump of flesh. It looks melted, like wax exposed to a great heat. Greetings.
Updated my journal.
What is it you want of me? The woman's accent is thick, and you are having difficulty making out what she is saying. You want me to leave. Not leaving this city, so I can't. Tried. It's not a city. It's a prison everywhere. Everywhere? There's worlds. There's... Her eyes gleam madly. Plains that be sinking sands. Fields thirsting nettles be sightless worlds. Where your limbs are given life and hate. Cities of dust, whose people are dust and whisper ash. The house without doors. The twilight lands. The singing winds. The sinking winds. She starts to sob quietly, but she seems all out of tears. In shadows. The terrible shadows there be. Where are these places? Where's them places? She flings the lump of her right hand at an arc, gesturing at the cityscape. They's all here be. Doors here to everywhere. Doors? You're not knowing this. She squints at you, her teeth begin chattering. Tell you I will. Beware every space you walk through or touch in this thrice cursed city. Doors, gates, arches, windows, picture frames, the open mouth of a statue, spaces between shelves. Beware any space bounded on all sides. All these are doors, other places. What do you mean? Every door has a key, it does. With this key, they show their true nature. An arch becomes a portal. A picture frame becomes a portal. A window becomes a portal. All eager to take you someplace else. They steal you away. She raises the lump of her right hand. And sometimes, what's on the other side takes part of you as a tithe. What are these keys? The keys number as many as the doors of this city. Every door a key, every key a door. Her teeth start chattering again as if she's cold. And the key is anything. Maybe an emotion, an iron nail held between second and fifth fingers, a thought 3 times, then thought once in reverse. Maybe a glass rose. And all these are keys that open these doors.
Updated my journal.
Yes. Her teeth starts chattering and she clenches her mouth closed, squints her eyes. Yes. Can't leave. Can't leave. How did you get here?
Updated my journal.
From... She seems to calm slightly. Her eyes take on a 1,000-league stare. Came here from a place else from here almost a life ago. Hummed a tune by a glade with 2 dead trees that had fallen together. A brilliant door opened in the space between the trees, showed me the city on the other side. I stepped through, ended here. Why can't you go back? Tried. She tries to sob again, but no tears come. Tried. All doors here lead to other places. She shudders, grips her melted right hand. Went through thrice 10 portals, some a purpose, some a accident, none of them right. Can't find the way back. There must be a portal that can take you back. Can't even leave here, the square. And there, the place of death beyond the gate waits for me. She points at the mortuary behind the gate, then turns back to you, her face desperate. Can't go anywhere in this city. You can't go anywhere? What do you mean? Anything could be a door. Any arch here, any door here could be a portal. Don't know the key. Could get us sent to another terrible place. Her teeth start chattering again. Got to stay away from the closed spaces. All could be doors. Could have a key on me and not be knowing it. You're afraid to go through any door or arch because it might be a portal? She nods, her teeth chattering. How long have you been afraid of this? She squints. Since the last time I walked through the last portal, the place where my hand... She stops. Since my 10th turning, I'm in my 4th, 10th turning that now. Her teeth begin chattering again. 30 years? You haven't walked through any door for 30 years? Her vision seems to clear slightly. She looks up at you, her teeth still chattering. If you got here, there must be a portal that can take you back. It's only a matter of finding it. She smiles. Her teeth aren't chattering because she's cold. They are moving around inside her mouth, her gums twisting as the teeth shift about. They rise and recede as you watch, chattering as they rattle against each other. What? She hisses at you. Only takes one portal you steps through accident to drive the fear into you. I went through thrice 10, lost my hand, burned my flesh, lost my sense. She looks at her feet. No more. No more. I'm sorry. If I can find some means to help you, I will. Farewell.
Updated my journal.
So we're gonna find a way to help her. It's yeah, it's a sad story. A lot of sad stories in the Hive, unfortunately. Alright. Before we go to the next section, I'm gonna pause really quick. Make sure the video is recording well. Okay, 1 second, guys. Okay, let's get back into it. See if we can go a little further before we end this video. We're gonna have a quick chat with Anna here.
Take off.
She's gonna be a main character later in the game. You see a striking red-haired girl dressed in leather armor. Her right arm is covered with a series of interlocking plates, looks as if they were taken from the skin of some creature. And a horned shoulder piece protects her left arm. Oddly enough, she has a tail that is flicking back and forth as you watch. Pike off. Greetings. The girl ignores you. Looking for someone named Farad. Do you know where I can find him? I might say more if you sweetened the question, She clicks her tongue, rubs 2 fingers together. Jink jink I? Jink jink? Mort. She means money. Oh. She glances at Mort, then shrugs. What the skull said. Hard coin. Alright. How much? How much is it to you? No. Aye? She studies you, then folds her arms. Come on. I haven't got all day. I haven't. Turn on the charm. How about 10? If your information's good enough, it could be more. Alright then. She pockets the money. It's gone so quickly you have no idea where it vanished to. Look for him in the alley, Spiroward from the mortuary. That's to the south and west of the mortuary, aye? South and west of the mortuary. Thanks, farewell.
Ugh, I've never seen something so ugly I've not.
Yeah. She's, an interesting character. Let's go ahead and drop into the Gathering Dust bar.
Chief, what are we doing in here? Let's say we just give this place the laugh, all right?
Okay.
Right.
Let's talk to Emmerich. You see a heavyset man with dark skin and grim features. He is dressed in dustman robes and is regarding you with a stony gaze. Greetings. You have the look of one lost. The man's voice is like stones settling. Did the wind send you? Are you here with purpose? Who are you? I am Emmerich, factotum and initiate of the Fourth Circle. Is this your bar? If you measure ownership in copper, this is not my establishment. If you measure ownership in spirit, it is mine. He pauses as if trying to emphasize a point. The dustmen here are my students. They are under my protection. Can I ask you some questions? Emmerich waits. Can you tell me about the Dustman faction? Dustmen seek the true death. Some call it oblivion, but this is incorrect. To Dustmen, the true death is freedom from the chains of this false life. False life? This life that many cling to with their emotions is a false existence. As long as one clings to it, they will continually be reborn into it. One must divest themselves of emotion to escape this cycle. I see. Can you tell me how your faction is organized? Dustmen are organized into 5 circles. The 5th circle is made of the lowest rank of dustmen, initiates. The first circle is composed of the highest ranking dustmen, the ruling body of our faction. I had some other questions. I am searching for a man named Farad. Have you seen him? I would know why you seek the collector Farad. He stole something from me. Emmerich remains silent. His gaze is unnerving. He doesn't seem to blink. Why do you want to know my business with Farad? The collector Farad has brought many corpses to the mortuary of late. One must ask where these bodies are from. Tell me more about the bodies. Some are recent dead. They still have their last moments in their eyes. Many more bodies are centuries dead. The dust of ages lies upon their bones. One must ask where these bodies are from. Perhaps I can find out where these bodies are from. How would you do such a thing? I would track down Farad and ask him. If you spoke with the collector Farad and returned with his answers, you will have done a great service for the Dustman. Find where the dead he brings to us are from. You will be rewarded. Very well, I will find Farad. Speak to him. Find out where these dead bodies he brings you are from. Emmerich nods. Your path is our path. Return here when you have the collector Farad's answers. Can you tell me where he is? It is not known to me where the collector Farad is. He hides from the eyes of the Dustmen. I would seek other collectors and ask them your question. Very well, I had some other questions. I think that's actually all. I must take my leave. Farewell. Let's chat with Old Copper Eyes. Before he was a tall, silent figure, he could easily pass for a statue. Although the deep furrows in his face and brow make you wonder if the sculptor was a little too eager in defining the face with a chisel. He looks well over 50 years old, but exactly how much over 50 is hard to tell. As he slowly turns to look at you, you catch the dull sheen of copper in his eyes. Greetings. Old Copper Eyes stares at you. His eyes are difficult to make out past the black wall of his eye sockets. They look to have a coppery sheen about them. I have some questions. Copper Eyes says nothing. Never mind. Farewell. I think we have to chat with someone else first. Maybe Mortai. This tiny, wizened man is dwarfed by his huge dustman robes. They look as if they were chosen to cloak his small stature. Although he looks to be in his late 90s, this man is extremely energetic. He fidgets constantly, and his eyes dart around the bar like a bird's. Greetings. The man's eyes gleam as they take your measure, and he gives you a slight nod in greeting. Hail and well met, traveler. You look like one who was just getting their sigil legs about them. He trails off. Pardon me, have we met before? Your face looks familiar somehow. Possibly. Are you certain it was me? Maybe I was mistaken. Morte shakes his head. No matter. How is it that Mortai Gravesend may help you? Do you seek the contract, perhaps? Clucks his tongue as he speaks. Contract? The contract? Oh, why, it is but a simple transaction. From the depths of his huge robe, Morte pulls forth a dusty parchment and a quill pen. I give you 50 commons. In return, after death, the Dustman faction may claim your remains. He smiles and clucks his tongue. What else will you have for them at that point anyway? What do the Dustmen do with the body? Mortai holds up his hands as if he doesn't know. What does it matter? There's no consequence when you pass on. Very well, I'll sign. Excellent. Mortai seems overjoyed. With a thin smile, he places a dusty sheet of parchment and the quill pen in front of you. You shall not regret it. He jabs his finger at 3 points on the page. Sign here, here, and here, and your transaction is concluded. Sign there, and there. You take the quill pen in your hand, begin to scratch your signature into the parchment. The quill pen makes a strange scritching noise that touches the parchment like a dagger writing on steel. Continue signing. As you try to sign the parchment, however, you notice that it seems to be shifting under your pen. No matter how hard you try, you can't seem to sign your name. The contract seems to twist from being a dusty piece of parchment to something alive? Mortai, what's with this contract? When you glance back up at Mortai, you see his face has been replaced with that of a grinning skull. The rest of the bar seems to stop. The patrons falling silent, freezing like statues. Mortai opens his mouth, and a wisp of dust trails from inside the skull. Mortai? With a rasp, the Death's Head speaks, dust streaming from its teeth. Sign. But remember, everything has its price. And what can change the nature of a man? The words are a ragged, dead chorus, as if being spoken by 5, 10, 20, 100 voices. Old and young, female, male, desperate, calm, and hysterical. Nature of a man. As you speak the words, suddenly you feel faint, and the next thing you hear is Mortai's voice, normal, his hand on your shoulder. Sir, are you all right? He laughs uneasily. Thought I'd lost you for a moment. Try and get your bearings. It is as if time has exhaled and returned its normal breathing. The rest of the bar has returned to normal. Mortai's face is no longer a death's head. You feel a strange pressure inside your skull, as if something desperately wishes to surface, but cannot. The experience with the death's head that spoke dust. It was as if you remembered a dozen splinters of memory all at once, all stabbing into each other to create an image. And you know that somehow, that every voice the Death's Head spoke belonged to someone, now long dead. Just give me a moment. I'll be fine. Mortai removes his hand from your shoulder. He looks uneasy, more at the prospect of losing a customer than any concern for your welfare. As you stare at the dusty parchment on the table, you know for a fact this is not the first time you have penned your name to a contract. Perhaps not the first time you have signed one such as this. Finish signing the contract. You scratch an X across the contract in 3 places Mortai indicated. As you finish making the last mark, Mortai's hands lash out like 2 whips. The left hand sprinkles dust across the parchment to help the ink dry. The right hand flicks a stream of coppers into your hands, 50 in all. Our business is concluded. Farewell. Mortai nods as you turn to leave. He has a strange expression on his face. Is there something wrong? Mortai frowns. Forgive me, I must ask again. Are you sure we haven't met before? Possibly. I do not recall you. Mortai shakes his head. Well, no matter. Farewell, Mortai. Yes, farewell, farewell. Mortai studies you as you leave, and you hear him mutter under his breath. Something about that one. Yes, our main character has lived a very long time. He's probably signed many of those contracts. We'll have a quick chat with Seer, and then I think we're going to probably call it for this video. Seer the Skeptic. As you approach, the elderly woman turns and stares at you. La, look who's a-coming on Seer today. Death's dearest son. She looks you up and down, then shakes her head in disbelief. By every power in its mother, boy, what crypt did you crawl out of? I'm fresh from the mortuary, actually. That's so. Seer raises an eyebrow. Warms my ears to hear you give that place the laugh, boy. Not much of a watering hole for one who isn't relieving themselves. She sniffs. Tss, too many cobwebs and dusty mines. You don't like the mortuary, aren't you a dustman? A dustman, I suppose. Seer sniffs. Tss, I've seen enough sand pass through the hourglass while wearing these robes. This body is almost ready to pay the ferryman. She chuckles, but there's not much mirth in it. Are you afraid of dying? Of course I am, boy. Who isn't? She frowns and glances around. Well, except dustmen. They're not afraid because they've been swallowing so much of their own bat droppings over the years, they've blinded themselves into thinking death is some kind of release. Shit. So what sparked this crisis of faith? She shrugs. Life, I suppose. She frowns. Ah, never you mind. I won't bore you with the niggling details. I'd like to know, actually. Oh, would you? She looks at you skeptically. Shh, how old do you take me for, boy? Truth. Old? She snorts. Well, you're wrong. I'm really old. Now, I've spent most of my young years teaching dustmen. I've seen many dustman whelps grow within our border. Teach them the ways of the faction. Keep the faith. Preach the tenets of the faction. She frowns, and so on and so on. No questions, no doubt. This life was merely the antechamber which led to the true death. What happened? Well, a half-month back, I went sick with a fever. She sighs. I thought it was the end. It rattled my cage. How? Her face becomes a stone. There's something about having your faction members circle around your deathbed like a pack of pale-faced ghouls, nodding and agreeing that your suffering and dying is all for the best. Oh, Seer is so fortunate. She shall soon be relieved of the burden of life. The burden of life. That's when it struck me. That there's something, a queer expression comes over her features. Addled about not appreciating your life. The dustman keeps saying that life is misery and suffering. Isn't that we should be happy to pass on into oblivion? Should we? She shakes her head. Questions. Precious few answers. Doesn't sound like you believe in the dustman philosophy anymore. I suppose I got a swarm of doubts all buzzing in my skull. She rubs her temples. Hard to get them all to be quiet sometimes. They need to be fed some answers, and I haven't got them all worked out yet. What will you do? To be square, boy, I don't know. Seer sighs. That's the problem with doubt. I can't even trust what I'm feeling is true, or if I'm scared to death only because of my brush with the fever, or even what I should do. Is this a passing thing? I don't know. Seer, if you had truly believed in the Dustman philosophy, then your brush with the fever would not have left you with such doubts. Seer stares at you, then nods slowly. Maybe so. Maybe so. She frowns, her face wrinkling up in concentration. I'll have to chew it over some more. You should, it's no small matter. Ah, now, enough of me rattling about my woes. Seer stares at your scars. You look like you shared a few handshakes with death yourself. Hasn't that changed your views somewhat? Does it make you appreciate life a bit more? Well, my condition is unique. I woke up in the mortuary. I think they mistook me for a corpse and were preparing to bury me. The strange thing is, I think I actually had died and got better. Sheer blinks. You're rather in my coffin. It's true. Strange are the ways of the plains, and I have seen too much to throw any tale out with the wash. She studies your face. If it's true, why did this happen? All I know is I woke up in the mortuary with no memory and covered with enough wounds to kill me 3 times over. Nah, don't be saying that too loud, she glances around. Most peculiar. I never heard of anything like that. Shame about the memories. Do you have any idea why this happens? Nay, not to one. Never know anyone that death couldn't take. Till now. Farewell. Alright, I don't want to make this video too long, so I think we're going to cut it short until we're going to come back and chat more with some of these people after we pick up some side quests, and there will be other things that will have more
All right.
conversation options with some of the members. But I think that will do it for now. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll try to make another video as soon as possible. And yeah, have a great day. Thanks.